welcome back, everybody. Finally, season 2 of the Fast Break with Taylor and Jake. As always, my name is Taylor Harper, and over here on my right, as always, is Mr. Jacob Merritt. Let me be the first to say, you guys are going to want to tune in to this season, because this season is going to be packed with everything fun and more fun, because that's all it's going to be, people. It's going to be basketball, toilet paper in people's houses, sneaking into abandoned buildings. I'm just kidding, but it is going to be a lot of fun. And as you can see, Jake and I are trying to social distance as much as we can. But so we're back, folks. Can you believe it? I think we had a little bit of an absence of a little bit longer than we intended. But get this. Get this. So we're recording this right now. And this is actually our second take of this episode because we did, oh my gosh.
We did probably an hour and a half long.
An hour and a half long episode.
It was long.
And the camera was not recording. So we're like, well, all right.
Yeah, I guess.
So there you have it.
Here we are.
Here we are.
That's all right, though. It's fine.
Yeah, we're good. We're here. It's basketball.
It's going to be maybe, like,
we're going to try to cut it down longer than
it'll be maybe like 30 minutes.
So bad.
We can, hey, well, but it'll be 30 good minutes, right?
Yep.
So, I can't do another hour and a half. I don't know how these talking heads do it on TV.
Yeah.
So, well, let's get to it. I did bring a little something for me and Taylor here. I brought the famous 7-Eleven special. I got one for me and one for my friend Taylor here, just to kind of celebrate the start of the season again.
Big gulp, huh? All right. Well, thank you. If you guys know what we mean by that, tip my hat off to you. But yeah, so let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. We won't talk about the little players like we did in our first take on this, but we're going to jump right into the draft.
We're going to go draft, re-signings, go from there.
And go from there, people. So, obviously, Anthony Edwards was pick number 1. I don't really like the pick. Because Anthony Edwards he doesn't have the passion
right
for the sport that I really need him to have. Or I feel like he needs to have. And like you said, Jake, if he wants to have that attitude, then he belongs in Minnesota. Minnesota is the most messed up organization. If you can have Karl-Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, and Jimmy Butler, Jeff Teague on the same team and barely slide into the 8th seed and get swept in the conference finals or just the playoffs in general, first round, then they need to move. They need to relocate Minnesota.
If you haven't heard Anthony Edwards, so he was the first overall pick just because he's pretty talented. He was pretty good at Georgia. That's why he's the number 1 pick. But essentially, he said, the reason I play basketball is because I'm very talented at it. I'm really athletic. I'm 6'8". I'm just built for basketball. And I just think he's probably in the league because he knows, like, he's good. I think he enjoys it. I mean, it's obviously better than, 99.9% of other jobs you could have. He's going to make, millions of dollars. So I think that's why he sticks with basketball. Hopefully that does change.
Right.
I think Minnesota picked him because he's the best fit there, where they've already got a guard with D'Angelo Russell and a big man with Karl-Anthony Towns. So I kind of need a wing. So maybe Minnesota, maybe those guys figure something out and they decide to care about basketball at some point.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, obviously, Golden State got their center that they've been wanting for the past 7 years or however long they've been needing one, but they finally got James Wiseman, who is a defensive specialist, and I really feel like he's going to be a huge help for them, especially with the absence of Klay Thompson. Jake, I don't know how demoralizing it is for a player to tear his ACL, clear that, get healthy from it, ready to go, and then rupture your Achilles.
That's sad. You feel bad for him. I mean, he's obviously had success in his career. If he were to hang it up now, you could say he's had a fantastic career. But that's super tough. That's I mean, getting through one injury is tough enough, and then so going through all that, and then realizing you've got another at least a year-long recovery. I mean, Kevin Durant, same thing. He ruptured his Achilles, and he's been slowly coming back for a
Right.
long time. So, hope the best for Klay Thompson. Hope he gets healthy. I'm sure he will. I think he'll work hard to rehab and get everything right, but it sucks. So,
Yeah.
Why
The scary thing
moving into
is
the Warriors?
he's already a top 3 best shooter of all time. All he can do right now is shoot more. I mean, he can't really run right now, so all he can do is shoot more. So he might even become a better shooter, if possible, than he was before. So that's a very scary thought. But yeah, and then at number 3, LaMelo Ball, who I thought should have been picked number 1, going to another terrible, terrible organization where they overpay you. So I guess if he wants money, he's in a good place. But the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo Ball to me is the most skilled player. We touched on it a little bit before. Jake didn't think there was a player like a Zion in this draft or a hyped player, and he's right. But I do feel like LaMelo Ball is more hyped than Zion, or at least in the high school aspect of that.
I think he's been in the public eye for a long time, more than anything else.
Right.
Zion really kind of, I think, got famous, like his last year of maybe high school, but it was mainly basketball based. Like, look at this kid dunk, right? Look at this, the on court that this kid is. Look at him, right? He's a specimen. LaMelo's had a lot of fame for his dad saying crazy things, and he's in a basketball family with his brother. He's traveled around the world and just took a really unconventional route to get to where he is, far more than anyone else in the league, or
probably NBA history.
Yeah, quite possibly, yeah. So I think LaMelo benefits from having a lot of fame, to be honest. But I do think he'll be good. I think he'll be a solid player and possibly an all-star in the future.
He will be. I think most skilled out of the Ball brothers. But that's about him. Obi Toppin was a big pick. There was a lot of names that fell, who were supposed to be picked up early, that kind of fell to 9 or 11. That's Tyrese Halliburton, Denny Advika, and who I think is going to be the gem and the steal of the draft is Cole Anthony for the Orlando Magic. That kid's so good. But that's about it for the draft. We obviously touched more about it that you guys will not hear, but that's fine.
Really, all you need to know about the draft is this, like, outside
It's those
of
3 names, to be honest.
Yeah. Outside of usually the top couple picks in the draft, it's kind of just a crapshoot. I mean, Tyler Hero is probably one of the best from his draft, and he was taken 14th. Right? Donovan Mitchell was, I think he fell to like 12th, 13th, something like that.
One of the best.
Jason Tatum was 3rd overall. Jason Tatum was 3rd overall. So you never are 100% sure. It's always a little bit of a shot in the dark, and you hope it works out.
Right.
Especially with these types of drafts, like we said, there's no like surefire things like LeBron's. There's hardly ever surefire things. So we'll just have to see.
Jaleel Okafor was supposed to be a surefire thing.
Was he the 1st overall? He was, wasn't he?
I think he was. I think so.
He was. Anyways, it just illustrates our point. You're never 100% certain. You hope for the best, and I think they'll all be fine players. I don't think Anthony Edwards will turn out like Anthony Bennett, but he could end up like Andrew Wiggins. So I don't know.
But if Minnesota, he just might. So let's touch on some players who have either signed with teams or re-signed with teams. Let's start with the Lakers, Jake. Do you think the Lakers they're your favorite to win? Is that correct? Is that fair to say?
It's not like a strong favorite, but they are. If I had to pick out favorite, it's probably the Lakers. I think they did a good job picking up Schroeder and I think Montrezl Harrell. I think they'll be great additions. Like pretty dang good additions, to be honest. And which you already have with LeBron and AD. I think you've got a solid enough starting lineup to do a lot of damage. They may need to maybe make some moves throughout the year to improve their bench, because their bench is not great at all. I mean, most teams don't have a great bench. That's actually pretty rare to find. So I'd give the Lakers probably my edge. It could change. I wavered on them a few times throughout last year, but I say I stuck with them for the most part more than any other team. So, yeah. What do you think about the Lakers?
Well, like you said, they got Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell, who are the number 1 and number 2 well, at least last year, according,
6
men of the year. Montrez ended up winning it. I thought Schroeder should have won it. So you got two of the best 6 men who are actually now going to probably be starters. I imagine Montrez will start. I actually don't know because they also signed Marc Gasol too.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he'll start. I think he'll come off the bench.
Montrez.
Yeah.
But regardless, Schroeder will start, and his backup is Caruso. And I don't care what you people try to say about Caruso, he will never be who you want him to be. Okay, he will never be that. He is not a GOAT. He might be a legitimate GOAT, like the animal. Their backup small forward behind LeBron is Talon Horton-Tucker. So I'm looking at the lineup. And last year was a total fluke. Not a fluke, a fluke. I mean, it's all for Kobe. And
I'm sure the league wasn't too upset about it, but I kind of told Taylor this, I don't think if the league wanted the Lakers to win for Kobe Bryant, I feel like the league itself would have made a bigger deal about it.
They based the All-Star game off. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That was the All-Star game, not
I don't
the
know.
finals. So.
Well, they might as well have. They have their Mamba jerseys. I'm like, you guys are just stupid. No, it was nice. I mean, yeah, everybody loves Kobe.
So let me ask you this: who do you put above the Lakers?
No, I would have put.
Did you go Milwaukee?
Are you talking last year or this year?
This year, Taylor. Come on, season 2.
Milwaukee. I put Milwaukee ahead of them.
Milwaukee.
If they can retain Giannis with the addition of Drew Holiday, absolutely. And I'd put Boston ahead of Lakers. I think Boston is just improved. They got rid of some crap players. Well, Brad Watermark is not crap, but they got their center they've been wanting. It's been about over 10 plus years since Boston has had a center who's averaged over 10 rebounds. Tristan Thompson's done that the past 2, so they got Tristan Thompson. They went out and got a smacking point guard in Jeff Teague, backup point guard, I should say, in Jeff Teague. They got a sniper of a sniper in the draft. I can't see him being like an incredible player. He's not sure.
Who?
Aaron Nesmith.
Okay.
Aaron Nesmith is the best shooter in the draft. I can't see him being a guy getting 20 points a game, but he'll be really nice off the bench for threes. I think Boston's got some depth. They've got a lot of talent. They've got Taco Fall, who will be. He'll never improve. But Boston, I got Boston as a wow. I have Boston as
your
having a
favorite?
very bright future. I'm just. It's hard not to be biased because I'm a huge Celtics fan, of course. But there's just so much talent. When you have 3 guys who can consistently give you 20 points, it's just
it's tough.
It's tough.
That's tough to beat.
It should have been Lakers Boston in the finals last year. Sorry.
Hey, that's why I had 7 games to figure it out. Right? I mean, we can talk all we want.
I know.
It comes down to those 7 games. So,
Stupid 7 games.
and I'm not gonna. I didn't actually really talk about it our first go around, but I'm not underestimating my Heat this year. They added Avery Bradley. I actually really like the pickup of Avery Bradley. They did lose Jay Crowder, but I think what they lose in Jay Crowder, they pretty much make up for in Avery Bradley. Maybe a little bit less. He's less physical. He's got less size, but
he's a heck of a defender still.
He is. He's a great defender.
He's still
a really good defender. So, which is good because Tyler Hero he's not good. He's not a good defender.
Well, neither is Robinson. Neither is Dragic. So they lack a little bit of defense. So Bradley will for sure,
especially in that smaller size. So when you need someone to guard a Dame or Luka,
it's all the white guys who can't guard.
Hey, to be fair, Kendrick Nunn, he's not fantastic either.
Yeah, right.
So I really do like Avery Bradley to guard yours, John Morant's and your Luka and your Damian and your Steph. Yeah. I think that'll be good. So I think Miami will be good this year. They'll have another year to get, they're not going to be the dark horses like they were this last year because no one expected them to do what they did. But I'm not going to underestimate my Heat. I'll never do that again. I never predicted the Heat to do too much last year, to be honest, and I was pleasantly surprised. So I don't know if I'd put money on them going back to the finals, but I'm not going to count them out anymore. So,
Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward signed an incredibly massive deal with the Charlotte Hornets. Dude is getting $30 million a year for 4 more years, so $120 million in 4 years. Yeah, make sure it's still filming. Don't have another slip up. Great. Low battery just came up, so 20% left. We'll try to wrap this up quick.
Probably about maybe 15 more minutes.
Oh my gosh, that's so awful. But yes, Charlotte Hornets signed Gordon Hayward for that much, and that is ridiculous. Okay, Gordon Hayward, I love him to death. I'm glad he's off Boston, basically for money purposes. One, he's a heck of a player. Boston just didn't have the shots for him. They had Tatum, Brown, and Kemba, who they're giving their shots to. They didn't have shots for Gordon. I could make a case that this was actually Gordon's best season statistically. I could make a case, but I won't. I just don't. I honestly, I mean, he was flirting with Indiana. He wanted to go to Indiana.
That's where he's from, actually.
Right. I think he should have went to Indiana.
I think that'd be
To
a
be
good
honest,
place for him.
I think Boston should have done a sign and trade for Gordon and Miles Turner. I've been wanting Miles
You would
Turner
love
for
that.
so long.
No, Indiana.
Oh,
You couldn't pay me enough to. You'd have to throw in a lot more than Gordon Hayward to get rid of Miles Turner.
what?
Miles Turner, he's their franchise center.
I think they'd have. I don't think. Well, I get pieces, yes, but money wise, I don't think you could.
Okay.
Yes, yes, absolutely. You'd want more.
I would
Gordon
need
Hayward.
like probably Marcus Smart,
Right.
maybe a draft pick or two.
Right.
No,
But here he
not
goes.
so much.
I mean, they even talked about Atlanta. I'm like, okay, great. Do it again. John Collins, Gordon Hayward. Here we are going to Charlotte. I'm like,
You want your big.
what? And Boston's still talking about a sign and trade deal because Charlotte technically has to free up $10 million more to get Gordon. They technically do.
Can't they go into the luxury tax for him?
I wouldn't.
That's gonna cost them like the luxury tax. Like, I don't know. I heard like for Golden State to be like slightly over the luxury tax, like for I don't know, maybe like 10 million, ended up costing them like 80 million. Like it's crazy.
Right.
When you're over the
Right.
salary cap, because you can go over the salary cap.
Right.
You're just paying insane amounts of money for it.
Right.
So
And I wouldn't go in debt for Gordon Hayward.
yeah.
So they're still talking. I know they're still talking to Charlotte about a sign and trade deal, which would be awesome. I honestly have no idea who in the world they'd give us back for Gordon. Like, okay, like they have
Frank Kaminsky.
Woo!
I don't even know if he plays
Another
for
Kelly
them.
Olynyk.
You get one of the Zellers. Doesn't he play for him?
I don't want another Zeller. We had Tyler Zeller. I do not want another Zeller on a team. There's too many Zellers. There's too many Plumleys.
It's true.
No. And then there still is one Plumlee who has not made the NBA, I believe.
You do have your you did pick up Tristan Thompson. That's your rebounder.
That was a
right?
rebounder. That was a big
There's your
rebounder.
energy guy. I don't know. I don't think he's great defensively. I don't think he's
He's
a defensive
Not worse.
liability.
He's not much worse than Tice, though.
Better than Canner. So you did
Which
lose
he's gone.
Kanter. Yeah.
I'm kind of bummed we lost Canner because Canner, there was some games where no one could make a
He's
shot.
a good offensive rebounder.
And then we give
Yeah.
Canner
He's
the
not
ball.
bad
No,
on
he's-
offense.
He's not bad. Defense, yeah, he couldn't
Defense
block.
is bad.
He couldn't block a lady.
He couldn't stop a nosebleed.
He couldn't stop a nosebleed. Absolutely, that's a good little metaphor. Now there are some trades we're potentially waiting on, whether they will happen or not. Russell Westbrook expressed interest that he demanded a trade from Houston. James Harden declined his player option, which was $50 million.
He declined an extension.
An extension.
That'd be $50 million a year.
$50 million a year. He declined it. I'm just trying to sit, Jake. Or I'm trying to think. Sitting here, my agent right here, handing me a piece of paper that all you need to do is sign, and I will be the richest NBA player in NBA history. And I push it back. Sorry, I want somewhere else.
And it's
I'm like,
and it's in a it's not like it's a terrible place to be. You know.
right.
I
Right.
would imagine. I don't know much about Houston, but it's a huge city. I mean,
Hey, it's
it
got
probably
plenty of
fits
strip
his
clubs for
lifestyle.
James Harden.
Yeah, I'm sure it fits James Harden's lifestyle. I just think he realizes. I think his best years of Houston are probably behind him, so he's looking to go somewhere where he can get a ring. If I'm James Harden, I'm signing the extension, making crazy amounts of money, and then by the time that's over, you're going to be in the twilight of your career. Maybe ring chase, try and get
Right.
yourself the ring that you want. See if it works out in Houston at least. So I can't believe he turned it down.
Well, that's the thing.
He must want out of their bag.
Who did they get for their new coach?
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Some
There's
guy.
actually been a few coaching changes.
Some guy.
Doc Rivers went to Philadelphia. I think Steve Nash became Brooklyn head coach on our last episode, so I believe we talked about Steve Nash.
Was it? That sounds right.
Because I said Jake's alter ego. What's the term for it?
Lookalike?
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
looks just like you, Jake.
Doppelganger.
Doppelganger. Steve Nash and Jake Merritt. I'm kidding. I kid you not, guys. They look exactly alike. Like, it's insane. So, but yeah. So there's been a few coaching changes. Houston was one of those. They let Mike D'Antoni go. So if I'm James, I stick it out one more year just to see what the crap this coach can do. Because Mike D'Antoni is not a true coach. He is the 7-second offense guy. He is the 3-point shooting guy. He's the I'm going to trade my center for a 6'5" center kind of guy. I'm like, what is your idea here? PJ Tucker was your center for most of it, and if he wasn't, Robert Covington was, and he's 6'7". So I'm like, eh. So they just barely signed DeMarcus Cousins, so they've already got a big center. Go one more year and see what this coach does, and if he doesn't, then call it quits. It's kind of like the whole Ben Simmons thing. If Ben Simmons goes one more year and he doesn't improve or whatever, then get the heck out of here. It's just that whole thing. You got rid of Mike D'Antoni. You got rid of, I believe, their GM too.
Yeah.
So you got a fresh coaching staff, a whole staff.
Yeah.
Give it. Have it.
If I'm Houston, if I'm the Houston GM, I really am trying to shop Westbrook.
Yes,
apparently,
absolutely.
It's not like a hot market. I mean, he's getting a little bit older, and what he relies on, which is his athleticism, it's going to be declining. It's kind of started to. He, for whatever reason, is a worse shooter than he was early on in his career. So they're not winning with Westbrook, right? This last year, I think, proved that. But I think they could be. I just think James Harden can average 38 a game.
Absolutely,
he can average 40 a game if he wants to. He's probably the best scorer of all time. So I just think he's good enough that you really want to keep Houston. And obviously they do, because they offered him $50 million a year.
Right.
So if I'm Houston, trying to get rid of Westbrook, keep James Harden, just go more conventional system than what they've had. We probably won't get into the playoffs this time as much as we did last time, just because time and we have all year to talk about that. I think Houston is in danger of sliding out if they don't kind of figure some crap out.
Right, absolutely. Keyword there is crap.
Yeah. So
that's what the whole team was. Okay, flipping it over. He obviously declined the extension. He expressed interest in Brooklyn, teaming up with KD and Kyrie. Jake and I both think that would be a very stupid decision.
For Brooklyn.
I mean, you got alter ego in Kyrie and alter ego somewhat in James Harden. The biggest one to me is Kyrie. Kyrie Irving to me is the killer of the whole team. You got Durant, who has shown he's
the chemistry killer.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyrie is
talent-wise, he's fantastic.
Right. He's the best ball handler we've seen since ball handling was invented. Durant, top 3 player in the league. James Harden, top 3 player in the league. But then you got Kyrie. It's like Jake mentioned. I think if Kyrie Irving gets injured, Brooklyn's probably going to have a better chance of winning. I mean,
I think so.
I mean, and then if you trade Harden, you're going to have to trade. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, just probably what you were about to say. If you trade Harden, Houston's going to want Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, and Jared Allen, and draft picks. Yeah. And those are 3 really good roster kind of guys. And draft picks are your future. So if Brooklyn's willing to sacrifice their whole future for this year, and I mean, Toronto did, and it worked out for them.
Right.
I mean, DeMar wasn't really their future. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. Some teams, Houston, or no, OKC, they're going to be building for their future for the rest of their lives and never actually capitalize now.
Right.
And if Brooklyn's willing to try and capitalize now and get these players in their primes, who obviously are probably in their primes, and they're probably actually getting to a close, I think, with Harden and KD. I think their best years are behind them, not in front of them.
Well, I don't know. I think
I don't think James Harden and KD are getting any better.
No, that's fair.
I think they're on the downhill side, but they're still really.
I can see James staying pretty. If
not
anyone's
like
going to improve, it's going to be Harden, because Durant's had his injury. He's older. Harden, he had his best best season he's ever had in his career.
That's true. That's true.
But I get what you're absolutely saying. Speaking of teams improving, Phoenix added Chris Paul, which I mean is just like Steve Nash 2.0, kind of, just a little bit older. He's what is he?
A
34?
floor general.
Probably like 34 years old. So he's getting there. He's got
maybe
35.
Yeah,
right. He's an older dude. But Phoenix needs something, and especially a point guard. They had Ricky Rubio last year, who was he had a really good season, but they don't have that point guard. They haven't had that point guard for a few years
Right.
since they had Nash.
Right.
And I think they have it now with Chris Paul. Well, I know they have it now with Chris Paul. And is Phoenix making it? Making the playoffs? Because
If
OKC's
they
out.
do, it's not going to be any higher than a 7th seed.
That's fair.
I think.
That's fair.
But I could see. I wouldn't be too surprised. We'll make our predictions next week.
Yeah.
I think we'll go our playoff predictions. We've only got a couple more minutes just because Taylor's battery might be dying. But I think that was an improvement for OKC, or excuse me, Phoenix.
Yeah.
I think teams tend to do well when they've got a pretty solid floor general. You look at the Lakers with LeBron. You look at what Chris Paul did with the
Oklahoma
Thunder last year. I do think you do need kind of like that team leading guy. A solid like traditional point guard. I don't think ever hurts a team. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think it was a good move for Phoenix. You did lose Kelly Oubre, who
Which kind of sucks.
I think is pretty good. I
Yeah.
think he was pretty well liked by the fans down there in Phoenix, and
Right.
he had some good energy for him. But I think Phoenix will be good. Other than that, there hasn't been really any superstars trading teams. A couple extensions. I think we
Right.
hit the extensions and probably call we're probably getting low on battery.
Yeah. We've
Bam
obviously-
Adebayo, Jason Tatum, and Donovan Mitchell all signed for max extensions.
So did Brandon Ingram.
Brandon Ingram as well. Brandon Ingram did. So we won't get into the figures. You can look that up if you care. But these younger players are going to be sticking with their teams, which I'm excited for. I like parity and players moving around a little bit, but I do like to see players develop with the teams that put faith in them and drafted them,
Right.
or if you're the Pelicans traded for.
Right.
So those are kind of the big extensions. There's been, DeMarcus Cousins has gone to the Rockets. That may be good. Marc Gasol has gone to the Lakers. He's kind of a fossil. Serge Ibaka's gone to the Clippers. Let's see. Jeff Teague, as you mentioned,
Jeff
is
Teague.
going to Boston. Rondo. We didn't talk
Oh
about
yeah,
him.
Rondo!
Your man
My
Rondo.
boy made the most stupidest decision of going to Atlanta.
I think he got a pretty good contract.
Oh,
for
he
what
did,
was gonna
he
get.
did.
2 years, $15 million
He
is pretty
did.
good for Rondo.
He was definitely ring chasing with LA, but
Hey, he got his ring.
he got his ring, so there's no hurt. He already had a ring, so I'm like, okay.
I don't know why he went to Atlanta though. He probably could have gotten the same amount.
He wanted to
anywhere
go to
else.
LA, and to be
To the
honest,
Clippers?
yes.
Did he really though, or was that just
Yeah.
Skip Bayless?
Skip it, probably. But like, I would love to see him mentor Trey, because I'm a huge Trey Young fan.
Mhm.
And Trey Young's obviously he can score the ball and shoot the
Yeah.
ball second to none.
I think Rondo will help him learn to win. to be honest.
Right, and he can already pass. He's a really good playmaker. Trey Young is. And I think he averaged like 8 assists last year. But yeah, it's just that winning mentality and the winning aspect and defense.
And I think it'll help him be a better vocal leader. Trey seems to be like a really quiet guy.
Right.
Rondo gets off to his teammates, so I think he'll be like, "Hey Trey, like you're probably better now than I ever was in my career.
Right.
I mean, I averaged 30 and 10.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can get these guys in line if you act like a leader. So
And Trey seems like a guy who's willing to learn. And if
Yeah.
you're not, you're in your second year, you should be willing to learn. Because like Jake said, he's won 2 rings. Rondo's got 2 rings now. Trey Young has got nothing, and he's not looking very good. So, I mean, I would take as much advice as I can. He learned, obviously, probably from Vince Carter as well while he was there. So these young players just need to listen.
yeah, I think Atlanta has a future for sure with
Yes.
Trey Young. I do like Cam Reddish and John Collins.
Right.
I think they've got a future. So
We talked about some teams that we think have futures, and teams like, let's put it this way, like we said, Atlanta is at least going upward. They can kind of smell the playoffs.
I think so.
Whereas Charlotte, I don't know what they're doing, They signed Gordon Hayward, but still, they're paying him 30. They're paying Nicholas Batum 27 million. They're paying Cody Zeller 15 million. They're paying another guy 18 million. Like, what? You guys are paying a butt ton of money for players who are okay players. Batum, I don't know how he made that many.
It was like Chandler Parsons when
Oh
I don't know
my
exactly
gosh.
what happened with contracts and the salary cap going up. Like
That was
these players who just weren't good were getting contracts.
Chandler Parsons made bank.
Probably trying to wrap it up here. Your battery's gonna die.
No, I'm probably getting pretty low. Was it 20 or 10?
It was a 20,
Oh, okay.
but that was 15 minutes.
Yeah. But yeah,
We're-
go for it.
Well, I was gonna say we'll talk about some more next week. We'll really kind of trying to get some good plans for this season. I think it'll be good. I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about. We've got a little bit more experience doing this
Right.
thing now.
We're loose now. We're loose.
Yeah, we'll try and keep it fun. We're gonna create some competitions, some season-long competitions like we did for the playoffs. That'll be super fun.
We're
so.
going to try to do a ridiculous counter every time I say ridiculous. I know we're already up to 1. We're not going to count that one. We're up to 1. We're going to do some more, like Jake said, quizzes, player profiles, competitions, probably even do more competitions with you, with the fans as well. Maybe some more giveaways or whatever. I don't know. Like, we're not a very expensive production. Let's put it that way. So we're not going to be giving away any PS5s or Xbox X's anytime soon.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry,
Find another podcast.
if I had one to give away, I wouldn't give it away. I would keep it for myself. So don't expect that. But maybe like a shirt or something that's like I don't know,
Or something.
something. We've already given away a shirt, so we know we have the capability of doing that, which is fun. I mean, it keeps you guys hopefully on your toes. The biggest thing is we need your guys' interaction as well.
Mhm.
So one thing I would love for you guys
Just
to
leave
do.
a comment today.
Yeah, leave a comment, smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, make sure you hit that bell to get notifications from us too when we have new videos. One thing we're going to do is we already obviously posted that game 1 of our one-on-one. We've actually finished that series. We already have a winner. So we'll probably post either all of them in one video after this video, or we'll do them separately. You'll just have to be surprised. But they'll only be about, if it is each individual video, it's only about 10 minutes because we did 10-minute games. We actually set a time limit now. Oh, just about swallowed my own spit. I think that's everything for this episode. Sorry, it was like super short. We talked way in depth in that first episode. So we just like,
Your phone's gonna die soon.
yes, I know. So well, see you later.